as a health coach, I can see physical results. They lose weight, they may gain some muscle, have more energy. How do you measure these mental changes in people?
Oh, beautiful. Great question. Anything that gets measured gets managed. I believe it's Pete Drucker or something that said that. I've got a set of quotes I read every single day.
Yeah.
Affirmations, and I know that's amongst one of them. Sometimes I skip by who actually said it because I know them, the actual quotes. So when it comes to the mental realm, that has physical application in the reality. So let's say I'm working with you and you tell me that you're experiencing depressions and anxieties. Depressions or anxieties are symptoms, and symptoms comes from your thoughts or your perceptions. So if we work with your perceptions and we clear those and balance them up, then you'll feel differently, physiologically, psychologically, meaning the mind. So they're outcomes that a client can experience. And the interesting thing about my work is the clients know greater to the degree of what the work's done than what I do. As a human behavioral expert, I'm studying physiology, I'm studying their linguistics, I'm studying body language to a whole different level, their energy. There's a whole list of platforms I can use to gauge whether or not the results being what I was looking to acquire with them. But the greatest result is to actually watch what happens in the actions of the clients afterwards. So if it's a phobia, to actually put them out into the same environment that they had a phobia of, whether it was fear of heights or fear of flying, and actually have them be able to do that, and then go to me. I couldn't feel the physiological responses and my heart racing or my sympathetic nervous system going into a highly active form.
Right.
They won't say that, but that's basically where they're going with.
Yeah.
So in the work that I've done, I say that in every industry there's a standard. So the standard is that whatever your clients pay for, they need to get. So when my clients come and see me, I get very clear about what their outcomes are, and then we set how we'd actually know an evidence procedure as to how we know that they've achieved that outcome, and we test it out at the end. And without that, I don't believe in this. There's this one thing going on with coaching or consulting or life coaching that I'm just going to bring out. It's this fluff crap that people are doing. Come in, emotions are a gray area, we don't really know what they are, you'll kind of slowly get over it. But I've worked with clients in depressions and seen them clear them in between 4 to 6 hours and walk out and never be the same people again. And I've got those on testimonials and they're on my website. So those people are there and viewable and you can talk to them. So I believe that too many fields, and even I've seen this in psychology and psychiatry from over 100 plus clients even coming in and telling me this wasn't working. I'm not saying that's all psychologists or psychiatrists or counselors. I'm just saying that in these fields, including some of the fields I work in, we've got to produce real results. And it's unethical for us not to, because otherwise we're bringing clients in, we're taking their finances, we're using their time, which is their most valuable asset, but we're not acquiring a result. And I just don't believe that's ethically acceptable.
So it's literally visual. You can see it, they can feel it, you can see it, even in the tonality and in their body language.
Well, right? I can give you a few examples. I worked with a beautiful young lady yesterday, about 31 years of age, and we were working on charges that she had towards an ex-partner. And there were infatuations and resentments towards the partner. So we took all of the traits, actions, and inactions, went through the whole history of everything about this person over 3 hours. We'd broken it down into 2 consultations. We took everything that she had a charge towards and we worked on it and we cleared it. And by the time that we were done yesterday, I was running through everything and got her to revisit every memory, anything that would make her cry or anything along those lines. And we went through the whole works and I said, is there anything there? She was smiling and laughing at the whole thing. Not temporarily like I'm happy now and I'll walk away. I tested it last consult and this consult, and I've done this with over 250,000 plus clients. And once you realize that your perceptions are dictating your physiology and these two are linked, and you work with the perceptions and that alters the physiology, which is basic understanding that any doctor that's got an MD that's got an understanding of the parasympathetic sympathetic nervous system or autonomic nervous system will be able to tell you that it's there for life. So it's their results. It's visually by having a look at the outcomes as well and what's in front of you and being able to test the things that used to frustrate them. I also worked with a young gentleman. We finished our last of our 2nd month consult yesterday. Amazing, high value on fitness. This guy is just chiseled. And some of the food he eats sometimes is just amazing. He's got such a high value for his body. And one of the other areas he has is just this donuts and stuff. You just look at him and go, how does that body come from some of the things he's eating? But it's not all the time, but sometimes when he eats them, it's profound. And when I first spoke to him on the phone and we were talking about doing consultations, he revealed to me the things that were troubling him that he wanted to work on. And one of them was a girl in his life that he'd highly infatuated over while dating, and then now resented her because she didn't turn out to be the person in his head.
All right.
So, and no human being can be one-sided. She had two sides.
It wasn't a fairy tale.
It wasn't a fairy tale. When he discovered the other side, all of a sudden, that wasn't who he wanted. So,
Who is this person?
Who is this person? Exactly. And, you know, I've got a girlfriend, and quite often we discover other sides of our partner, and we go, where the hell did this come from?
Yeah.
I even wrote an article on dating recently, just talking about the two sides and having a bit of fun with that. I can go into that if we go into relationships and things a bit more.
Yeah, later on.
Yeah. So, so I spoke to him, and we cleared up those charges, and that was about a month ago that we cleared up those charges around her. And everything, I remember when he first spoke about her, he cried. And the reason that he cried was because when we went into a certain memory, he saw more pain and pleasure, disservice and service. And in doing so, he felt so challenged and charged by it, it brought a tear to him. And within the time we finished working on that, now I can talk about her, and he's grateful for everything that she's done, because he can realize and see that everything that she did had both its benefits and its drawbacks. Her beauty and the things that he infatuated over, he realized, also stopped him from doing things that he highly valued, and he'd sacrifice elements of himself. So there was a drawback to that.
Right.
And everything that he thought was a drawback, like her challenging him in certain areas financially, etc., also had his benefits, because it was getting him to better master areas that he had no value in, that he would need assistance in by others unless he learned how to value that area. So
it was an awareness.
An awareness. So she was bringing to his awareness just as much as she was taking it away. Right. So when he saw that, and he looked at his life now and what he had now and the level of awareness and how he'd applied things afterwards, he realized he had grown. And in the ways that he had grown, I said, would you want to go back and take away the relationship and go back to who you originally were in that lower sphere of awareness? He goes, hell no.
Yeah.
He goes, to the degree that I've grown now and what I've seen and what I'm aware of, I can take those tools into another relationship and grow that. But if I went in that state, I'd still be juvenile, dependent, and expecting so much out of her and less out of myself. And that's not what he's here to do. He's here to evolve.
It's no surprise that something like that, a change like that, just a perception shift, can completely change someone's life.
Yes.
You know, and it's real. This is real stuff. You know, and the science shows that, you know, the mind, body, and the spirit are connected. So this is real stuff, guys. So just imagine, you know, at home, if you're listening to this, anything that's holding you back in the past, a relationship, a friendship, or a job, or maybe yourself that you perceive a certain way you perceive yourself as, that weight that we put on ourselves, if we release that, you just literally transform into
what's called enlightenment. Enlightenment means moving back to the light. And
you literally feel lighter as well.
Yes, I hear that on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Yesterday, when I finished with this particular client, one of the final processes, we actually just test everything out to make sure that it's all clear, there's no more charges. So I asked her a few questions, one of which was, is there anything you would change about this person? And I could see her eyes moving throughout her head, so she was actually looking, and she said, no. And a softer voice came out when she said no, which was interesting, because when we first started, she would have said, she would have had a list.
Swear words.
This, friggin' this, and he was an asshole, and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And I don't know if I can say that on here, can I?
Sure.
I know the Australian market's different to, I guess, what America and stuff may have. So by the time we were done and I asked her that, I could tell that she was jogging through her memories and looking for anything that she'd want to fix or change. But anytime we want to change something, it occupies time and space in our mind, and we can't get it out. Whenever you're highly infatuated with someone, you can't get them out of your mind.
No.
And if you're highly resentful, you also can't get someone out of your mind.
Well,
so both of those, whether human beings that are watching this may or may not know, they're feedback mechanisms to let us know that there isn't a balance within our perceptions of a thing, person, event, or situation. So when we balance that, it no longer occupied time and space in her mind because there was a balance to it. But if she was highly charged and resentful to that, then she still would have had that occupying time and space of her mind and thoughts like, well, why did he do that, etc., on a quest to find the answer to why that was doing that. So, so I believe we know the answers. Our physiology and psychology is trying to bring that to us. And there's quite a few fields of study, physiology, psychology, biology, and we're splitting up the body and the universe into different components so we can study them. But the master realizes that all of these are connected. They're one and the same. Just because we split them within the mind so we could dissect it even further and get more finite in the study, doesn't mean that the whole thing shouldn't be communicating and working, whether the micro or the macro.
Yeah. Okay.